Good morning. You know, first of all, I want to say congratulations to the class of 2023. Congratulations for making it here today. But we also have to understand and congratulate not just the administration, not just the faculty and staff, not just every single worker at BCCC, but let's give a big, big shout out to our family, our friends, our supporters who are there from day one. Let's recognize that when you made this journey, you didn't do it alone. That the people who are sitting there right now, they were there with you. Whether it's a sacrifice, a loved one worked the extra shift, maybe they watched your children, maybe they just asked you or told you, you need to get out that bed and go to school. Maybe they sat there and worked a little extra shift for you so you could do your homework. This is a journey that you didn't do alone. You know, I want to thank all of you for allowing me to be your commencement speaker. I want to acknowledge President McCurdy for her dedicated and talented leadership of Baltimore City Community College. For 75 years, Baltimore Community College has proudly served the Baltimore community, creating opportunities in fields of full academic and career discovery. As president, she has a steady hand at the helm, guiding this great institution through the troubled waters of the pandemic and everything that came with it. I'm confident that she plans and has already thought about the plan for the next 75 years, and that she will remain committed to the mission and core values to train, educate, and support students in their journey to build a better life. You know, when I was asked to be the speaker, I was like, well, what am I going to say? What am I going to talk about? You know, as state's attorney, my job is to hold people accountable. You don't want to hear about me having cases or trials or what I need to do to put people, unfortunately, sometime in jail. So I thought about my life. I thought about my journey. Now, many of you are past where I was when I began this journey, but it's still a journey that all of us have to undertake sometime called life. You know, I remember my graduation. I'm going to go way back to my high school graduation. You know, I think that when I sit back and look at the person I was, the person I thought I was going to be, it wasn't who I am today. So some people may say, look, I see you, you're an attorney. You graduate from Howard University. You're our state's attorney. You must have had a great, easy life. You probably paid attention in school. You probably didn't have any struggles. You probably almost had what some people want to say, a silver spoon in your mouth. My journey couldn't be any further from the truth. See, when I was a little bit younger than some of you, we were in school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I know that I wanted to have a good time. I know I wanted to party. I know I didn't want to listen to my parents. I know I graduated from high school with a 1.9 grade point average. I knew that when I graduated, I, like you, was so excited for my future. I'll never forget that day graduating. My father, my mother, my cousins, my aunts, everybody was there. We went home, we celebrated. I was happy. The greatest day of my life at that point in time. I'll never forget my father pulling me to the side, telling me how proud he was for me, and telling me that I had to get out of his house. See, my father told me he had done his job, that it was time for him and my mother to enjoy their life, because it was time that I, quote unquote, in his eyes, became a man. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where I was going to go. Now, I'm not trying to date myself or tell how old I was, but Whitney Houston back then was my person that I, let's just say, had eyes for. Army recruiter knocked on my door, looked like Whitney Houston. So guess what I thought? I thought everybody in the Army looked like Whitney Houston. So I joined the Army. And to many people, I'll never forget sitting out there at my high school graduation. You know, I was thinking about going to the Army. hearing that I was eventually going to go to the Army, and listening to all my friends with their future, the different schools that they were going to go to. A part of me at that moment in time didn't feel like I was going to be the success that I had dreamt about. A part of me felt that the odds were stacked against me. You know, I'd grown up in the military. My father lived everywhere. He retired in an area called Hampton, Virginia. Hampton Roads. I was bused from the black part of town to the white part of town to go to school. So I really had a lot of anger in me still because I did not know really what I wanted to do. But I know when I went to the Army, I had to figure it out. See, the Army taught me teamwork. It taught me discipline. It taught me how to work with others. But the other thing the Army taught me was what I did not want to do. See, I don't like taking orders from people. So I knew I needed to figure out what I needed to do so I could eventually be the boss. I also recognized that when you're in the Army, if they tell you to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go sit and guard a fire hydrant that nobody on earth knows is there, you got to do it. So I quickly realized that education was going to be my passport to the future. What I decided to do was apply to Howard University in Washington, D.C. I'd never, ever seen Howard University. Now, I'd seen Hampton University, but I wanted to be away. I wanted to be my own person. I wanted to make sure that I could be a success somehow, some way. But when I went to Howard, I wasn't equipped for the academics. I struggled. I studied every single day. The same skill set that I learned while I was at the Army, I realized I needed to put forward in college. You know, one of the things that I learned was it wasn't going to matter where I started, but it mattered where I was going to finish. Because during that process, the journey is what I began to embrace. So after I finished undergraduate at Howard, I went to William & Mary to law school, and then eventually I moved to Baltimore. See, I decided when I was in law school, I wanted to be a great civil rights lawyer. That's what I thought I was going to be. I worked out in Los Angeles with the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, and that's where I wanted to be. I helped work on the gang peace treaty between the Bloods and the Crips. There are so many things that I decided I wanted to do. But sometimes you have that call of family where it's bigger than you. Sometimes you have to defer your dreams. Sometimes you have to have a different path. And that's what I had to do. See, I had an aunt, Aunt Edna, lived 11 West 20th Street, right around the corner, apartment 6S. She was 75 years of age, had no children. She was getting older, and someone needed to be here to take care of her. So I applied. I applied to be a law clerk for a judge named David B. Mitchell. Judge Mitchell was right up the street. And that was going to be the beginning of the story that we have to who I am today. See, I came to be unselfish to help take care of my aunt. I began to understand Baltimore, to love Baltimore. But David B. Mitchell was important because one of the things that each and every single you need to understand is that in life we cannot do anything alone. See, David B. Mitchell, Judge Mitchell, he became my mentor. So when you're out there and you're wondering what's going on, when you have a struggle, when you think about that next step in your life, think about the faculty, the staff. They can be your mentors. Pick up the phone, stop by, visit them, shoot them an email, shoot them a text. Because the journey is going to be difficult. Make no doubts about it. You've begun it. But you need some time to have that guidance. You need some time to have that hand, that word of encouragement. Maybe your parents, your loved ones, your significant other. Maybe you'll look into your eyes of your child and decide that you want something better for your children, and that will be your encouragement. But remember, as you grow and as you go through this process, talk to your mentors. But now, you also will become a mentor as well. It's important upon you to make sure you do something I talk about where you lift as you climb. See, you're chasing your dreams. You're chasing your goals. I understand what that's like because after I became a law clerk, a prosecutor, I worked for a law firm, and then I wanted to have my own firm. I was very blessed, had an opportunity to have a case and argue, be part of a team before the United States Supreme Court. I was able to start my own business, but I didn't do any of this alone. I was able to have cases all around the United States of America. I began to see a lot of different things, how you're so blessed. And the one thing I realized everywhere I went was education was the most important tool you can give another person. I also understood that as you go through this process, sometimes you have to stand up and make difficult calls. You have to do difficult things. And when you see injustice, that was the wanted to be civil rights lawyer in me. You sometimes have to stand up. So I played a role in helping expose some of the issues of the Gun Trace Task Force. And I recognized from there that there were other things I needed to do in this city. So in 2018, I ran for state's attorney of Baltimore City. I have a spoiler alert, I lost. Sometimes in life, you're not going to win when you first start. Sometimes in life, like I said, it doesn't matter where you begin, it's where you end. I took that loss, I looked at what I'd done right, and I looked at what I'd done wrong. I began to focus my energy on other things, but I always thought in the back of my mind about that dream that I had to want to one day be state's attorney. During that time period, though, I had a little girl. Her name's London. And I realized I loved being a dad. So I began to put my dream to the side. I began to think about how I could be the best father possible. And then one day, I was out at the park playground playing with my daughter, and I thought about all the cases I had when I was a prosecutor. I thought about all the people's lives I could touch. I thought about all the change I could make, and I thought about all the children in our city and how I still had something to give. And that's when I decided to run for state's attorney again. But this time, I used the mistakes from the past to figure out what I needed to do for my future. I called my mentors. I explained to them what was going to be different. I worked harder than I'd ever worked before. And so when you chase your dreams, that's what you have to do. You have to work harder than you've ever done before. Sometimes you have to find that inspiration. For me, it was my daughter. For you, it could be anything. It could be your family. It could be your family in another country. It could be you're the first graduate. It could be you're the first person to have your own business. All right, Tawanda. But the thing that I realized during that journey was the process that I had to embrace. It was the process I had to love. Because when you're winning, it's easy, but when you're losing, it's hard. But when you focus on the process, when you focus on that next step, when you focus on your dreams, you can and you will make it. Now, for some of you, you have to make the next choice in your life. You want to go on to maybe a 4-year school? Do you want to get a master's? Do you want to start a business? And that's the crossroads you're at right now. But remember, whatever you do, that you can and you will make it. Because you've taken the first step now. And that sometimes is the hardest step to take. Always remember, it's not where you start, it's where you finish. And the same people that uplifted you today will be the same people that uplift you tomorrow. And as you go through this process, each of you will find your own unique purpose. This purpose will drive you. It's a purpose that you have to understand, hold on to, embrace, and focus on that during this process. But remember, I use the process because you must learn to embrace that to achieve success. You have to figure out that purpose, that motivation, and you will be that success. I am looking forward to seeing how you're going to be a part of this great city, maybe this great state, and most of all, this country. Or many of you may take it back to your home country. But the goals, the friendships, what you've learned during this process is what will sustain you to that next level. So on behalf of Baltimore City, I'm excited to see where we all grow. Baltimore City Community College class of 2023. The potential in this room is palpable. It is a privilege to see you all accomplish this milestone, and I look forward to the bright futures ahead. As you grow into the best versions of yourself, never forget that it doesn't matter where you start, it matters where you finish. Congratulations again, graduates of 2023. Thank you.
Thank you again, Attorney Bates, and on behalf of the Board of Trustees, the faculty, staff, we would like to present Attorney Bates, if Chairman Schmoke would also come forward, our student valedictorian, come forward. Thank you so much for joining us, for your words, for your life's experiences. The delivery, we certainly appreciate you taking the time to come and join us today for the 2023 commencement, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. If you can move to the center.
Congratulations. Thank you very much.
All right. Did you want a photo? Pardon?
Thank you. Thank you very much.